Hi, Sharon Preston here with Ladies of Lead. Today's topic is going to be on, does your skill set actually match reality? Stay tuned. As I am invited to go speak to different groups on some pretty serious topics on the act of violence and the use of deadly force and the differences between violence, although it is a very heavy subject to be talking about, I can't help but get excited because I get to meet new people. And as I'm speaking in front of this group, I start to kind of scour all of these Americans that love our firearms and really are thirsty for knowledge. And I try to think of who they are, what's their background. And I do this by gathering in information visually by their gender, their age, what they're wearing, like if they're wearing a military hat or a hunting hat or something like that, and their body language. And so it's always interesting to me when I get to sensitive issue of training and I say how important it is for us to utilize and to actually shoot our personal defense firearms regularly. I start seeing some crossed arms and some lowered chins. And when that happens, I know that I've hit a nerve. It's at that point that my compassion kicks in from my community. I'm not there to embarrass anybody or, certainly be a threat to them and who they are as a person and what their rights are. But I do hold my ground. So instead of embarrassing them and saying, how many of you, show of hands, have shot 1,000 rounds through your personal defense firearm in the last 12 months? How many of you have shot 800 rounds, 600 rounds, 200 rounds? 0. Now, if I did that in a group like that, I would become the threat. I would shut down the thought process, and then they would listen to me like Charlie Brown listens to the teacher. Wah, 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 wah. I don't want to do that. So instead, I take them on an internal journey that will thoughtfully and consciously, privately open up their own vulnerabilities as to, does their skill set match reality? Because if I just stood up there as an authoritative figure telling them what to do, that's going to be an external motivation, but this needs to be an internal motivation. We need to train as if not only our lives depend on it, but the lives of our community depends on it, because it does. I'm just here to give you the pathway to do so, but it's entirely up to you. It's your choice. So the question is, are you really proficient and 100% certain that you can hit what you're aiming at with your firearm? Do you have good judgment with 100% certainty that you would be utilizing the use of deadly force in a lawful way? Your community, we deserve to know that you are 100% certain. I care enough about you to drive this point home. Even if you discount my education, my gender, my experience, my knowledge, my qualification, the facts still remain. Your skill set needs improvement, and I care enough about you to shed the light of truth on this issue. If you're not willing to train because your ego is standing in the way, for God's sake, do it for the rest of us. Do it for us. We might need you someday. Not to be hit by one of your stray bullets needs you, but to protect us needs you. I'm not a compliance professional trying to take advantage of you. This is a process that you need to bring into yourself, into your critical thinking brain, and to your emotional heart. We can be externally motivated to train using our critical thinking brain because of laws and consequences and risks of those consequences, hits on targets, making good judgments, shoot or don't shoot, managing your recoil, follow-up shots, knowing what sight alignment, sight picture, and aiming is, shooting around and through different substrates and materials for ricochet issues, what's behind and around the assailant. Is it a brick wall? Is it sheetrock? What's the horizon line? Is this trees? Are there houses over there? What is behind? Because that bullet keeps going on and on and on. And depending on the bullet style that you're carrying, and that's another important thing that people miss, is they don't understand the ballistics and terminal performance of the bullet style that they're carrying in their personal defense firearm. Those bullets can go through the assailant and hit innocent people. Do you understand the energy behind your bullet? Do you understand the maximum range of travel of your bullet? You have to take into consideration noise, lighting, people. And then there's the internal motivation, the love and compassion that we feel for our families, our community, and hopefully ourselves. When it comes to defending ourselves or those that we love or our community, that comes from a source of love and compassion. And I know you've heard this before, but we carry a gun not because what we hate is in front of us, is because that we love what's behind us. If you choose to get involved, you don't have to, but if you do, how would you feel for the rest of your life knowing that you could have helped but you didn't? Or you choose to help, but your critical thinking and your skill set was not up to par and you missed or hit an innocent person. Choosing to use a firearm or any tool for that matter for personal defense is a decision that no one can make for you. But please, please take your ego out of this. You can state out loud that I was in the military, or I was retired law enforcement, or my parents, I grew up with guns in the house. But my favorite is I've had guns all my life. This is a deep, private, and honest question that you need to ask yourself. If you haven't shot your handgun in months or years, I can guarantee you your skills need a tune-up. Shooting firearms is a perishable sport. Also, as we age, we might not be as strong as we once were. Our eyesight might not be as good as it once was, or we've had LASIK surgery or cataract surgery, or we have a shoulder injury and we can't push our gun out like we used to. Your eyes will lie to your brain as we get older. I'm living that right now. For things to change, we have to change. And the honest truth is, we're going to have to throw some resources at this. You're going to need to join a range. You're going to need to possibly hire an instructor. You're going to need to buy ammo so that you can shoot more. Maybe you'll even come to me and shoot on the laser shot system. And let's fix your fundamentals there virtually on the virtual range before we go out to the firing line. Maybe you'd want to get some committees together for your church groups or your business and take some defense strategies. Get with your law enforcement agency. Get a tactical plan for where you work, the what ifs, especially if you're in like an ER, doctor's office where there's drugs, or maybe you're a large animal vet and you're out in Lord knows where by yourself all the time, or you're a realtor, heaven forbid, or a teacher. I am training large groups of church members. So maybe you want to have a committee at your church and go through some training as a unit, figure out what your tactical skills are and what your vulnerabilities are. Two different things. Bars, restaurants are another one. And then choose people that are on the committee that will actually put the resources towards training and the effort to train to keep those communities safe. You got to work out your communications. Who's going to call 911? Who knows first aid? Who locks all the doors? Who goes outside to help the EMTs to come in? We need to do a better job for our homes, our communities, and we need to refuse to be a victim. But that takes honesty. That process all starts with a thought. And if your first thought is, I don't need any training, I've had guns all my life, or list excuses here, that all stops. That thought process stops right there in the ego. The mind is a very powerful thing. Everything humans achieve starts with a thought. And then we create strategies. And then we take actions on those strategies, which gives us results, which motivates us to take more actions, which gives us results, which motivates us to take more actions. It's ARM, ARM, ARM. It's like this circle of forward movement. And that is what we need, is forward movement. Together, we can make a difference. We can have a plan, we can have a mindset, and improve our skill set. In the balance of competing harms, we shall prevail. Please be sure and subscribe and click the little bell so the next time I put a video up, you'll be the first to know it. And check out the website at ladiesoflead.com, Facebook, Ladies of Lead Group Therapy. And until next time, be safe out there.